the intro video.
Oh, well.
You are watching live to the best damn Cincinnati sports podcast. I didn't think of a location. This side of my apartment. My name is Santori Miles. We got Bengal Dad. We got Big Savage Greg. Cincy James is being a quitter. It's the schedule release night. How we doing?
This is one of my favorite nights of the year.
This is Christmas for you.
This
we didn't do an intro video.
This is what the draft is for you. I love the schedule release. And there's everybody out there acting like they know what they're talking about, and almost everybody's wrong because there's so many different things out there. If everybody would just pull their jets and wait till 8 o'clock.
I've seen 3 different verified schedule releases that all have different games. So, verified, I've seen nothing. But we are like 90 seconds away from the schedule actually dropping. It will hit. It'll all be at once, and we are going to be here to break everything down. Sorry, I did not have the intro video tonight. I hit go live. Our normal engineer, Cincy James, is doing some stuff at work, and I don't know where all the buttons are. So bear with me while we figure everything out on the fly.
Hey, you know, since the NFL is scripted, I wonder what's on the schedule for February 9th. Who's playing?
I don't know.
Kansas City.
Maybe it'll be on the schedule by mistake.
Yeah. Maybe they'll release that, and we'll be guessing with colors in the logo again. And
but in the meantime, while we're waiting, shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, Craft Show. Shout out to something else. Oh, Script Coffee, and shout out to I don't know where my hat is. Three-Way City. Everybody enjoys a good three-way. And shout out to Brimminghorn
Meadery.
You like honey? You like wine? Do you hate Montana? Then you're good to go.
It is officially 8 o'clock, gentlemen.
Where's my schedule?
The Bengals website has hit 8 zeros.
It's coming out. Oh, that's around the natty thing. My
bad. Craig clicked on our own link.
Nothing on the Bengals website yet.
I got all excited. Well, it's coming. Something's coming.
I'm on Bengals.com, just hitting refresh.
That's where I'm at.
Well,
we know that we are traveling to whatever head you want to call it in week 2.
There's a schedule release video. Do we all want to just watch this live?
Let's just watch it live. That's cool. Let's just do that.
All right.
Don't say anything.
We're going to get banned here.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's on them. It's like Simpsons themed, from what I understand.
Yep.
There we go. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Can we see this okay?
Yep, we're good to go.
I see the Bengal blimp. I can't hear anything. Are we supposed to hear something?
I don't know.
This isn't real good without audio.
I hear it.
I don't hear it.
I can't hear it.
Well, let's see if we can get the audio to play right. This is our shoddy production studio, and it's just me.
Yeah, nobody has stepped up and let us use their $1 million studio yet.
Yeah. Settings. Whoa. Well, the schedule's at the top there. It's rolling through.
Oh, it is? Okay.
We'll save the video for later. We're already.
Well, let's. I need to see the schedule then because I can't make out what's going on here.
All right, so here we go. Bengals schedule release video. This is awful.
Well, this doesn't give me times or anything though.
Schedule.
Oh, here are the preseason.
Here we go.
There we go. Make it big. I got a large in here. Okay, here we go.
Week 1 for Patriots.
Okay, that one was reported properly.
Week 2
at
Kansas City.
At something head.
At Burrowhead.
At
Week 3. Week 3 Monday Night Football.
Ooh!
In Cincinnati. That one was not reported.
That will be the Ring of Honor game.
To all you people out there that think you're smart, you're freaking wrong.
Yeah.
You're not smart.
Everybody thought we were going to. Well, the rumor had it.
Hey, good for Bengals and Bourbon because he'll be in Hawaii. He's like, man, I got to wake up at like 2 a.m. to watch this game.
Oh, yeah,
no, now it's a 2 o'clock game for him.
Now it's 2 p.m. for him.
So it helped him. So this helps him out.
This helps Bourbon.
Okay. By the way, wasn't there a debate we'd only have one primetime because they asked us between the whiteout and the tiger stripe? So that's not. So we can have both, right?
So you know what that's going to be.
So far,
I have a feeling the Bengals are going to have this like gifted week 3 primetime game because that's when they do their Ring of Honor.
Yes,
year. It's always week 3.
Yes,
it's always that like 4th week of September. Yeah, I mean that's probably going to be your Ring of Honor game. Is that going to be White Tiger? Or are we going to stripe it out? What are we going to do? I don't know yet.
Well, it better be White Tiger because I got the white Corey Dillon jersey.
Moving on.
Week 4, we are at the Panthers.
Week 4 at Carolina. That is one that I will not be going to because that's the end of the month and my bosses will shoot me in the face.
That's a regular.
Well, what difference does that make?
I can't leave at the end of the month.
Well, just say you have an infected tongue.
Yep. All right. We're going to do that.
Okay.
Week 5. Okay, all right. So we've avoided the week 5 bye.
Yes.
We avoided it. Yeah. It's like a bye week.
No, week 5 bye.
That is Sunday, October 6th, 1 p.m., normal CBS game at Paycor Stadium.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, week 5 bye.
Week 6. Okay, this one was right. I'm going to try and go to this one. Sunday Night Football.
Ooh.
At the New Jersey Giants.
Yeah, in New York City. New York City.
Well, I can tell you week 7's not a bye either.
No, it's not.
Let's have a bye.
No, do not screw us.
All right. Week 7. At the Land. If it's brown, flush it down.
1 o'clock game, normal stuff.
All right. I like it. We got a 4 o'clock game coming up the next week.
Who we got then?
The Philly.
Eagles.
Philly, wow.
And that is here.
That's here.
Wow, at home. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Philadelphia Eagles.
And we could have cooked Eagles?
Week 9. No bye yet. Love it.
Bye yet.
Yes.
Another home game.
The Raiders.
We're going to have a lot of road games at the end.
Hey, no, that's good. I want to start out home. We got to start out strong at home. Yes, I like this.
Paycor Stadium.
God,
Week 10 at Baltimore.
Who cares?
Thursday night football.
Okay.
So that's a short turnaround for Baltimore.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a short turnaround going into a physical game or a short turnaround coming out of a physical game?
I don't care.
Bring it. Brought to you by Amazon Prime.
So far, I'm guessing that week 11 will be our bye. Am I right?
No.
No, wow.
We're just not going to get a bye week. Then we go to Los Angeles.
We're at Harbaugh. Well, at least we got 10 days of rest for that one.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Will we have the Thanksgiving game?
I don't know.
No.
Week 12. Week 12 is a bye.
Oh, week 12 is a bye. Cool.
That's a good bye week. Week 13. Pittsburgh
here, normal 1 o'clock game.
All right.
To open December.
I like that. Week 12 bye, yes.
Week 14. Monday Night Football at Dallas. I will not be going there.
You could not pay me enough to go to that game.
Why not? What's wrong with Dallas?
I'm 0 for 2 in that stadium.
Okay, don't go. No. Stay the hell away from there.
We are a combined offer in that stadium.
Forget what
I had one conversation in my life with Zach Taylor, and he told me to stay away from the stadium. Zach told me to. I can't go.
Directions from the coach.
Yes.
All right. Week 15 at Tennessee. Okay, Nashville, December. If you're looking for a good little away game, I could see Broadway being dressed up for Christmas. That could be a cool little trip.
Yeah. It just probably doesn't snow for me.
Week 16.
Quick turnaround.
Another Thursday night football game.
Are we at home?
We're home.
We are at home for the Brownies.
So the question is, Christmas is getting really close.
Yes, it is.
To be announced.
Woo!
We don't know yet.
We don't know. Are we having towards that game, Santori?
The last 2 games of the season, and it's on Christmas week. We don't know. We don't know.
It's like Christmas.
Listen. My cousin Natalie is dating a guy who's a huge Broncos fan. I've been talking to her the last 2 weeks. Like, do you want me to try and get tickets when this happens? You know, we can get together. We can go to this game. And I just texted her. She said, yeah, get me tickets. And if I go, hold the phone, looks like it's on Christmas. I don't know yet.
We don't know.
And then we end in the Berg.
Let's do this.
In the Steel City snow where Rudy Johnson runs over Palomalu for the division win.
Here's the real question. By the time we play Pittsburgh, who's going to be their quarterback?
Yes.
Not yet.
Their punt returner.
Okay, cool.
It's been a couple weeks since we've been on here.
Well, I was going to say we haven't even covered the draft or anything.
So here's the deal. This is officially season 3 of Rally Around the Natty. It might be season 4. I don't know. I've lost track. Three. Yep. Season 3 of Rally Around the Natty. We started in March 2 years ago. Last March, April-ish, we called it a year, kept going. We haven't been on for a couple weeks. The draft hit. The Reds suck. We'll call that the end of the season. This is the start of the season with the schedule release. That's how we'll do it every year. This will be the new season. That's how we kick it off, the way Bengal Dad intended. And we've got...
It's not free agency. It's not the draft. It's the
schedule. It's the schedule.
So how many? Let's go back. So how many national or we have 2 night games in Cincinnati?
Well, hold on. We'll recap. All right. So we have the Commanders here. Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Right. The Giants that's Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night
away. You've got Baltimore
at
Baltimore Thursday.
That's 3 night games.
You've got at Dallas.
4 night games at Dallas.
Cleveland here.
5 night games. There we go.
And then you got to be determined to end the season back to back. You've got 5 primetime games. How's that for a last place team?
Is it 2 here and 3 on the road?
Yep.
Which means
you're going to get a stripe out and a white out.
That's the Burrow effect.
Okay, but so we got 2 money. So why were the Bengals tweeting? Which would you rather have then?
Probably just to get people excited.
The old smoke screen.
But let me ask you guys this. No, just for fun. Would you have picked the whiteout game or the Tigers? I personally like the Tigers striped game.
I love the whiteout game. I loved when Penn State did it when I was a kid, and I always wanted to be a part of one. And the closest I ever got was like Nippert does a halfway decent job of it. A couple high schools in the area.
I'm already doing the whiteout.
I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. Jungle Night
game.
We're the Jungle Night up here. But no, two night home games, 2 night games at home, 3 on the road. I got to start getting my tickets for New York.
To be determined.
Yeah, I got to see if Ashley's still as good with New York or how she feels about Nashville around Christmas.
How many 4:00 games do we have at home? I know that Eagles game, right?
Hold on.
Is it 2?
The Eagles game is Kansas City's on the road.
Yeah.
Eagles
is 1. You just passed it.
Yeah, Eagles is 1. Chargers is on the road.
That's it. We don't know about these last 2. One's here.
Can we look at the preseason games?
No, they don't count.
Why not?
No. Because you get the Colts, the Bears, and Baker Mayfield.
The only question about the preseason is Burrow going to play and is the offensive line going to play? Or are we going to limp into the season again, not even knowing how to snap a ball?
This will be the year they play everybody in the preseason, and then they get hurt.
Are you guys going to go? Are you guys going to go to the preseason games?
I might go to 1.
I might. I don't have. Yeah, I'll probably go now.
Probably go now.
I did go last year.
Oh.
I'll probably go this year.
Well, you had a Saturday night that I could race down there for.
Yeah.
And a Thursday night, which I probably won't make because I work till 8 on Thursdays. I'm not going to do that for a preseason game. I'll give my tickets to someone at work or something.
There you go.
And then we can all go to the Saturday 1 o'clock. Jesus, I won't watch that one either.
Wait, it's on a 1 o'clock. Why is it at 1 o'clock? That's stupid.
Saturday 1. All right. So I'm not going to get to see the Bengals until Sunday. Sunday at 1 on September 8th.
That's BS. Oh, well.
I will say this, gentlemen. If we are not at least 3-1 after the first 4 games, I think the panic button better be hit.
No, I agree with you guys on this. We cannot start out 0-2 again.
As long as you get out of September 2-2 or better, you are in good shape.
Yeah.
I say it every year.
Well,
would I love to be 4-0? Sure.
Well, if they're going to be 2-2, I hope they lose weeks 3 and 4.
Right.
We can't have these AFC losses.
Yeah, that one.
We can't have division losses. We buried ourselves so much last year.
But so since we kind of covered the schedule, let me ask you guys this: we have not covered the draft. Should we start talking about the draft a little bit?
You're going to ruin my night.
It's Dad's favorite thing.
Why would it ruin your night? We got some great players.
I don't even remember who drafted.
I don't know if they're great.
Okay.
I mean, they're always hyped up.
All right. Just a thought.
All right. Here,
I'm a Debbie Downer when it comes to the draft.
You tell me who he picked, and I'll give you a 1, 2, or I'll give you a 1, 2, or 3 on how I feel.
In the first round.
Bad, hold on, you don't know the scale yet. 1 being bad, 3 being good.
In the first round, the Bengals select Amarius Mims, OT, Georgia.
Like a 1.5.
That's good, right?
No.
Oh.
3 is good.
3 is good.
Second round, Bengals draft Chris Jenkins, DT, Michigan.
2.
Third round, Bengals draft wide receiver Jermaine Burton.
-5.
4.
Damn, dude.
4 for the talent. 5 for the -5 for the head.
Other third round pick.
Listen, first round talent, 10-cent head. We'll go there.
Okay, third round. Other third round, DT McKinley Jackson, nose tackle out of A&M.
I had a 6th round grade on him.
That explains it enough. Fourth round, local guy Eric All.
2.
Did we have another fourth round?
I don't know.
I don't
This
know.
is your job, not mine.
Oh, shit.
I wrote the book.
You wrote the book, but you don't know that. No, I'm just kidding. Here, other fourth round pick. I can do this. No, I can't. Yes, I can. No, I can't. I got to cheat.
Love the confidence.
Shit. I'm here. You just keep stalling.
Yes, it sounded like that. Anything you can do, I can do better song. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Greg's just
NFL
throwing
draft.
himself.
Are the Patriots going to start their rookie
Probably.
Yes.
quarterback, or
Yes.
or are they have something
Okay.
else to throw at us?
Here we go. Josh Newton, round 5, quarterback out of at TCU.
If you look at the draft guide,
Yeah.
my
Triple.
assessment says AAA. Please tow my car.
What was that supposed to mean? I think.
AAA. It was from a previous player as well. AAA stood for average aging athlete.
Oh, okay.
He's old and he's. Nah.
Round 6, Tanner McLaurin.
I like Tanner McLaurin. That's a 3.
Oh, you were happy. Okay. Round 6, Cedric Johnson, DT Ole Miss.
It's a 3. Very, very high talent.
Round 7, D. Anthony, safety out of Ole Miss.
I didn't like him at the start, but the more I like him, more I watch, I'll give it like a 2.
Round 7, Matt Lee, center out of Miami.
That might be a steal.
Yeah.
We didn't really cover him in the draft guide, but there wasn't a whole lot he did wrong in college.
Isn't it his size that people scared him away?
Well, Ted Karras isn't a big center either.
Well, I want to go back to – let's go back to Burton. Burton could be a big steal for us. I do like Burton a lot.
Everything that we've seen in training camp thus far, he looks really, really good. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks. There we go.
I guess the question is, and I don't want to offend anybody, is he going to go the route of Joe Mixon, or is he going to slide into the Chris Henry realm? Which way is it going to go?
My thing is, I think a lot of the attitude stuff was overblown.
Yes.
Because I didn't do my own. And this is where shame on me. I didn't do my own research into what was really going on with him. I just always heard that, he's a punk. He punched a girl or whatever, and listen, for those of you that don't know the incident that made him infamous, he was jogging off the field of a game, and a fan ran on the field, and she shoved her phone in his face, and he swatted the phone out of her hand. And when you're in close quarters, I think he like nicked her in the cheek or the nose or something, and she went viral and posted it on her TikTok and tagged him and said that he punched her in the face. That's not what happened. I mean, he's pushing a camera out of his face. Like, yeah, like you got to have a cooler head. You can't do that kind of stuff. But this is not a Joe Mixon situation where he walked into a restaurant and cold cocked a girl in the jaw with a haymaker. It's very, very different. And, I'm not going to act holier than thou. If I had just lost a game, and I can remember the way that I felt after some losses as a coach, if some random fan ran up to me and shoved the camera in my face, I'd probably push him too. I know the way I am. I know it. So I have a hard time holding that against him. To my knowledge, he had some immaturity issues.
Right.
There's no violence. There's no. I don't believe there's any kind of an arrest record off the field. I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't dove too far into this yet. But Zach Taylor's done one thing super consistently since he's been here, and that's he's not going to bring a guy on the team unless that they're going to stay out of trouble. I trust Zach. If they've done their homework on him and they say he's good to go, then let's rock and roll.
Exactly. I mean, you guys all saw Zach Taylor's reaction. He was fired up. He was happy as hell. I don't think any of us at the draft event were thinking Jermaine Burton, but I don't know. Malik Wright was very high on him, but like I say, I mean, everybody said Zach Taylor seemed happy. And if he seems happy, I have my full trust. Is that a fair statement?
Sure. I mean, it's one of those things where the talent is undeniable.
Yes.
And I know everybody, and you've said this countless times over the last calendar year where you thought Yoshi was the steal of the draft. Greg, I'm sorry to tell you, this kid's 2 to 3 times the receiver that Yoshi is.
I'm not arguing. No argument.
It's pure talent. And the thing is, we know he worked with TJ Hushmanzada in the offseason, and TJ's done a great job of mentoring receivers. He's mentored a lot of them too. It's not just like 1 or 2 that he happens to know. Like that's his, I'm not going to put TJ on the same level as like Jordan Palmer, but that's what he does. When you watch his college tape, Jermaine Burton's,
right,
he doesn't have the lateral quickness that you would like to see because he had a limited route tree. It just didn't show up on tape. I shouldn't say he didn't have it. I should say it didn't show up on tape because of the things they asked him to do. When you watch the routes and the practice tape and the little cut-ups that the Bengals have been posting where they're running the 5 and outs coming back to the ball and, the little stop routes where he's got to jump up and catch it. And, I know we didn't get this full video of the entire development of the route on the deep ball, but he's running a very, very series of complex routes already that we didn't necessarily see at Alabama. And he looks good. He looks quick. He looks like he's got really, really good hands, which has been in his scouting report since day one. We know he's an exceptional athlete. I'm pretty sure his RAS score was a 9.5. For those of you that don't know, that means he's just in the 95th percentile in athletes in his position. That's really, really good. So if you want to break it down inversely, that means that only 5% of receivers all times have tested as a better athlete. And you don't necessarily have to be a great athlete. It's just something that helps. His lower body explosion is through the roof. He runs a 4.5, which I know that doesn't necessarily jump off the charts when you got guys running a 4.21 now, but AJ Green ran a 4.5, so he's faster than AJ was, and AJ was open a lot, it's he's got a chance to be something special.
He ran a 4.5. It looks like he ran faster than that. You look at him on tape. Oh my God. And I never would have thought of that. But if someone compare, I don't know if you're big. I know a lot of people don't like to compare receivers to other receivers, but does he kind of remind you of Steve Smith in a way? The way Steve Smith he just had that fire in him. He had that because Steve Smith had a bit of a temper, but he was just so competitive. Could you compare Burton to in a way?
I haven't watched games. I know that stuff doesn't necessarily show up on tape.
Okay.
That's stuff that you see on a broadcast. When I'm watching tape and, you've got the all 22 camera and you're going back and forth, watching feet, watching hands, you don't see any fire. You're watching for everything else. He seems like he likes the game. I can't attest for anything like that. Steve Smith is I hold Steve Smith in a very, very high regard. There are not too many people that I would not want to go against just from a physicality standpoint. I mean, you hear it a lot where people say that guy's got the dog in him.
Yeah.
Steve Smith had that dog in him.
Well, remember what he did to Pac-Man? Pac-Man tried to tackle him up in the air, and he really grabs him by the jersey and just yanks him down to the. Steve Smith, man.
No, I don't see him being that kind of a guy.
Okay.
I see him being more Tyler Boyd with speed, quite honestly.
We go.
Tyler never had that speed.
Never.
They both have excellent hands. They're both about the same size. Tyler was a much more complete receiver, but he also started 4 years for the same school. There's a difference. I think he's a better athlete. I think they're about the same size. I think he's going to allow the Bengals to stretch the field a little bit more. But I hate doing comps.
No,
they almost never, ever work out. I'll think of one if you give me some time.
No, it's fine.
But at the same time, I think he's going to be fine. He's just going to stay out of trouble.
I'll chime in here because I mentioned this to you the other night, son. And I might be stretching a little bit, but I like kind of looking at people and just at a glance, who do they remind me of? He reminds me of Peter Warrick. That's who he reminds me of. He's very, very quick in and out of breaks. Now, I don't know if he can stop and actually go lateral and backward, which is kind of like Barry Sanders. Yeah, Peter Warrick had the Barry Sanders thing going on. But this guy seems like he's incredibly quick, can stop on a dime, can reverse. I don't know. It's just what he reminds me of. He's a little bit of Peter Warrick.
He's a very gifted athlete, and he should be able to run your intermediate routes well. He might be somebody
kind of guy. He should be in the slot getting open real quick.
Yeah. He's probably going to be your slot guy to start the year. Which, if we want to take that conversation down a small rabbit hole, we can. If those are your 1, 2, 3, meaning Chase, Higgins, and Burton, who are your next 3?
Gesicki.
No, receivers, Greg.
He's a tight end.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant Charlie.
Well, Yoshi's in that conversation.
Yoshi, Charlie Jones, Irwin. I mean, that's pretty damn good if Irwin's your number 6.
I think Charlie Jones might be your 6.
Charlie's a 6.
Oh, Charlie Jones. Yeah, I know. Charlie Jones.
Jermaine Burton is going to be able to do what Charlie Jones can't do.
Right.
Charlie Jones can't get out of these cuts anywhere close to what I've already seen from Burton.
The thing that is going to save Charlie for this roster is he's a good punt returner.
Yeah.
He's a little bit better than Alex Erickson was. So we'll see how that continues to develop. I mean, he was a rookie last year and he missed half his rookie season.
Right.
I think we do need to remember that. We are kind of harsh, but at the same time, he's also 25. That's why I don't like drafting older players, because you already know that development time is gone. I mean, when we were watching Jamar when he was 20, 21 years old, whatever it was, you're going, man, this guy's just going to keep getting better. At 25, you're like, is he going to get better, or is this it? That's kind of the scary part. But if he can return punts and be a okay number 5, he'll have a spot on the roster.
If I can take this a different direction now, because you're talking about the draft, did they pick up anybody, in your opinion, in free agency that after the draft that's somebody to look at and think that guy could make this team?
Yeah, LSU running back.
Yep.
Is his name Collins?
Kane.
6'1", 6'2", 225. He's a thumper.
Yeah, and you said we needed a thumper, and
he is a short yardage guy. He's very physical. There's not a whole lot of wiggle to him. He's a little old school. But I mean,
that'll probably just come down to can they afford that roster for that specialty.
The Oklahoma State running back, he was really good at Michigan State. That's another one I heard to keep an eye on.
I didn't like him.
You didn't? Okay.
No, he's slow. He's a long, striding, slow running back. He looks like a skinny tight end running with the ball, and it's like, ugh.
What about tell Bengal Dan about the other puncher we got? Who's going to win the punting battle?
I would be surprised if McNamara does not win the punting battle.
So your money now is on McNamara?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Robbins. I mean, he was so good in college, and just, I mean, I can count on one hand the amount of good punts he hit.
Yeah, I've only seen the one from McNamara where it was a wind blown 80-something yarder.
Well, I'll say this: he had, I believe, 5 kicks in college that went 70 plus.
Right.
Now, granted, wind's behind it, a couple bounces, whatever, but to do it more than twice.
I want a guy that can consistently kick the ball in the high 40s to just about 50, but I'm more concerned with a guy that can trap the other team inside.
So
that's where there's more value.
This guy's a rainbow kicker. You know, he'll get your high deep ones that hang up there a little bit. He's probably a better punter than Robbins was. There just wasn't a huge punter market this year. You know, typically the more – it sounds inverse of what it is. The more good ones there are, the more likely they are to be drafted because you don't want to miss out on them and you don't want to have to get in a bidding war for something like that. But he was probably the 3rd or 4th best punter coming out this year.
Right.
But he hit some freaking moonshots.
I'm going to go back to Mims quickly. So obviously, Santori, the biggest thing you had against Mims was him only playing 7 games. But you kind of told me you warmed up just a little bit to him going to the draft. But let me ask you this: would you have taken Mims or Fawatu, who went to the Steelers right after us? Like, who were the other? Would have Mims been your first choice, given who was there available at 18?
Yeah, he was fine. I didn't have an issue with where he was picked, especially how the board fell.
Right.
And I'm okay with it just because of the fact that he doesn't have to start right away. You know,
right.
It's a little bit of a luxury pick. I just, in my mind, a first-round pick should be coming in and kicking ass day one.
Right. I agree with that.
That's just, and I know that that's not necessarily a fair expectation, but that's what mine is.
No.
I mean, you see it every year.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. And quite frankly, the Bengals have, with the exception of last year, have had that happen for the last 3 or 4 years. It's been really nice. And that's part of the reason why they're competitive as they are, is because they got young guys under team control that they don't have to pay a lot of money to, who are huge contributors. That's what you like to see.
Well, we definitely have a potential huge contributor, Mims. So what is the Bengals trying to do? Are we trying to compete with the AFC North, getting these humongous 6'8" guys just to try to contain TJ Watt and Miles Murphy? Is that what you think they're trying to do, or?
I just think they're trying to go with the best talent. I think it's more a coincidence that the guys are 6'8",
okay,
more than anything. It's not a coincidence that they're getting big guys because Frank loves big
right.
players. I mean, Volson's 6'6". People forget about that. 6'7" on a good day. Kappa's not small at 6'5". Karras is the tiny one at 6'4".
Right.
You got 3 tackles at 6'8", 340 plus. That's great. You know, in terms of having size on the line, that's awesome. But that's not the only thing that matters. It's how they're going to play, how they're going to fit, and that's all remains to be seen. The issue has been, and this is where I do like the Mims pick, their depth had been decimated the last couple of years come the playoffs. You know, in the Super Bowl, I mean, I sat down for the first time since and watched the Super Bowl last week. Hated it, but it was the first time I've sat down and watched it since.
I can't do it.
I watched him come out of the tunnel, and it was Isaiah Prince, Hakeem Adeniji, Quentin Spain, and I'm going, holy shit, how did we make it with these guys? And those weren't the guys that were scheduled to start either. And then you get to the year that we didn't make it in the AFC Championship game. where the line fell apart. And again, you've got Jackson Carman and Hakeem Adeniji out there. I don't see many circumstances where those two guys see the field. Nonetheless, one of them make the team this year. Even if these guys aren't great, which I don't think they are, I think they're probably going to be an average line. The depth is considerably better. You have 3 tackles now who are huge.
But your guard still, man. I mean, I understand where some fans were upset we didn't get another guard in the draft. I can agree with that. Our depth at guard is pretty slim right now.
To a degree. But here's the thing. Unless you lose both guards, which is, knock on wood, shit happens. Unless you lose both guards, which is rare. If it's one of the backups that has to come in and I still have my other normal 4, that's fine. The issue is when you lose a center, a tackle, and a guard, and it's all on one side, and you're going, shit, like, this is awful. Right. Well, now, here's the thing. Let's say you lose Karras, and you lose Kappa, and you lose Orlando Brown. Okay? Well, your bookends are still Trenton Brown and the rookie, Mims. Right? Your backup is this kid that everybody loves, who was on a top 100 board for a lot of people, in Lee that they drafted in the 7th round.
Right.
Okay? And I've still got Volson or Kappa. And then it's somebody else. In my opinion, you've still got 2 starting tackles, a starting guard, and a center who is thought to be the heir apparent.
Right.
So even if you lose 3 massive pieces, you're in significantly better shape than you would have been in any other year in the last 5 years losing guys.
I think one thing that's going to help the line this year is last year they were forced to throw a lot of screens.
Right.
When Burrow went down, and they found one of the best screen games in the NFL by doing that. So if they apply that this year with Burrow, and they to kill, that's how you kill the pass rush, is draw plays and screens.
Well, the other thing that everybody's going to have to remember is because of the way Burrow's ankle was, they weren't able to go under center, right? It was healthy for about 3 or 4 games, went under center for 3 or 4 games. He nicked it again, and then that's when the whole Baltimore situation happened. But that period of time where they were able to go under center, and that was the same offense that they basically ran with Browning. The quick passing game that you're able to produce under center is awesome if you can do it right. It's because when you're in that position, defensive ends can't pin their ears back because they have to respect the run when you're under center. They just have to. The other thing that I want to touch on in terms of this roster and how it's put together, because I was kind of going, and when you get to this point in the season and you start looking at your team on paper, you always hear that right now. Right? You go position group by position group this year to last year. Are they better, the same, or worse? Okay. I'll get both of your votes here, and I think everybody's kind of probably going to agree for the most part, with the exception of one position, and we'll talk about that. But you can go in terms of affordability, you can go in terms of depth, you can go in terms of talent, wherever you want to go, just justify your answer.
Right.
But, quarterback position, better or worse, or the same?
Same, which is not a bad thing.
Well, they're the same from the start of the season, but they're better from the end of the season.
Yeah, let's put it that way, yes.
I would say I have more confidence right now in that
I have confidence that we have a backup quarterback that can walk in and play well for a game or 2.
Yeah.
We'll call it the same, but with better confidence, and that's the way things go as continuity grows. Running back. I would say
I think they're more versatile.
We're more versatile, but did we? I wanted to go to committee for years, but did we get better? I wish we would have had that one more running back in the draft. I know this is unfair. I'm not going to say what's below same.
What's worse?
I don't want to say worse. It's just different. What do you guys think?
I would say it's much more affordable what they're doing. I would say it's much more versatile. I would say it's harder to game plan for.
I think you have a better chance of a running back being more of a impact player in the game. And we know that Chase Brown can break a play. He can break one all the way.
And we know Zach Moss can take 20 carries a game if need be.
Yeah, Mixon was not one of those guys that was going to break one for a long run.
Well, Tori, you were very high on Zach Moss too, going into free agency, correct? Because you said he'd be a perfect fit for us because, like you said, he's good at with his balance and breaking tackles, correct?
Sure. And the other thing that I told you when I wanted to get a running back was I wanted somebody that pairs well with Chase Brown, and not being that they're compliments, but they're almost the same back.
Right.
I want that if Chase Brown has to come out and I put somebody in, it's, the screen guy's out. I don't have to worry about that anymore. No, you still have to worry about inside, outside screen, or possibly wheel route with any of those two guys.
Right.
I do think there is a level of explosion that you have out of that backfield now that you haven't seen probably since it was Gio and Mixon. And I'm not trying to belittle Joe Mixon in any way because he was a great running back for a lot of years.
Of course.
It's a very, very different style of what you're going to get. But I think when we talk about over the last few years of marrying your running game to your pass game, Mixon's a true power back who can catch dump offs and checkdowns. These guys fit more of that spread offense. So I think affordability, it went better. Talent, yeah, it probably went down in talent. But in terms of the way it fits the scheme, I think it's better.
Right.
Receiver. I think that room's better.
The best I've ever seen. I'm just going to say this is the best receiving room depth-wise we had in the Zach Taylor era.
Well, it's the same depth as it was last year, but when you really the only piece that changed, right? And we're going to talk about this the whole year is Burton versus Boyd.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's potentially better.
Yeah.
It's athletically better, but we don't know how that's going to translate.
We don't know how it's going to translate, but here's the thing. If this is my worst case scenario, Jamar, Burton, and then you've got T.I. can come in for a game or two and start. We see it every year. He might only catch 2 passes for 45 yards, but he'll make some plays for you. Charlie Jones has potential to be decent, and he can be a good punt returner.
Yeah,
that remains to be seen. And we're still holding out hope that Yoshi might be something special. There's a lot of development there. He's kind of the gifted athlete of that bunch that's going to get forgotten about a little bit. But at the same time, I think the room athletically is better. Professionally, you talk about Tyler Boyd versus Burton. There is a huge character shift dynamically there. But this team needed another guy to stretch the field bad.
Yes.
Potentially better, definitely not worse. And I have a hard time saying staying the same when you got that much more athletic.
Right.
Tight end, I think, is a clean sweep. I mean, that's 10 times better.
Easily. This is the best tight end room we've had Santori. You could argue almost since we had both Eifert and Jermaine Gresham. Is that pushing it or?
No, it's probably the second best room since then. Gesicki, we know what he can do when he's got the right pieces around. And he's never been in a system that's been great. He's had the 1 year where everything kind of clicked and he had 700-800 yards.
Right.
Outside of that, he's been rocking the Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi show for the last couple of years. I mean, and he's still been decently productive out of that system. We know what Tanner Hudson can do. People laugh at this, but Drew Sample had 40 receptions 1 year. That does work. I like the kid that they drafted, McLaughlin or whatever his name is. I don't even know where he's from. I
Arizona.
like his highlight tape. Yeah,
broke Gronk's school record there too.
Yeah, and I know he's 25. He's a little older, but he's a depth piece. And then you bring in Eric All. He's recovering from an ACL. You might not see him too much this year, but at the same time, great athletic receiving tight end who can do it all. If he'd have been healthy, he'd have been probably the number 2 tight end in this draft class.
No doubt in your mind.
He's a better blocker than either of the top 2 tight ends.
Wow.
He would have been, if he'd have been healthy, he'd have been up there with the Laportas from last year.
Oh, wow. Well, so yeah, that, like I say, and the cool thing about all is you don't have to worry about relying on him this year, obviously, right?
No, you've got 5 guys in that room, which is why you talk about who's going to get cut. Personally, I think they're going to keep all 5. You're going to keep 4 active, and then one's going to be a fullback, which will be Sample or whoever.
Right.
Eric All will probably be your redshirt freshman, so to say, while he's recovering. I mean, you can always stash someone on the practice squad and protect them if you need be. So tight end, I think nobody would argue got worse. I think everybody would say that room got better.
You could argue that's the most improved position after the draft.
Offensive tackle.
Better.
You've added Trenton Brown and Mims.
Right.
Potentially a lot better, especially depth. Guard is the same. Like you said, we didn't do anything there. Center, probably about the same. You did add some depth. But definitely not worse than any of those spots on the line.
No.
You got better on the line. Defensive line. I'm going to start interior, and I'm going to have a bold statement here. I think they're better on the interior than they were last year. Last year, you had Tufele, you had Tupou, you had Reeder, and those were your big plugs in the middle, right?
Right.
Reeder's gone. Reeder, and I put this out there, and I think a lot of people were just thinking that I was trying to cope with him leaving. The Bengals were paying Reeder $14 million to play roughly 40% of the snaps when healthy.
Right.
When he was playing, he was only a first and second down guy. And the run defense wasn't necessarily even good when he was in. Was he the bright piece? Sure, but it wasn't working. So you swap out Reeder, right?
Right.
And in return, you bring in Chris Jenkins, you bring in Sheldon Rankins, and you bring in the kid from
McKinley Jackson.
McKinley Jackson, who some people are really high on. McKinley Jackson's got a day 2 talent, but like day 5 inconsistency. That's why I didn't like it. There's a lot of things he does well, but a lot of things he just doesn't do well enough of the time, if that makes sense.
No, I understand.
That room, though, when you look at it, would you rather have DJ Reeder, BJ Hill, and then the slew of other guys, which were Tufele, Tupou, Cameron, whoever, or BJ Hill, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson, Sheldon Rankins, so on and so forth. There's a little bit more depth there.
Give me the depth pieces.
I'm not so sure how good Sheldon Rankins is.
I'm not either.
I know he played really well against the Bengals.
He had a season against the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, you
All
look
what it is.
What did he get? 3 of the 6 sacks against the Bengals?
But that's not what I'm asking him to do. I'm asking him to stop the run.
I understand that. But I don't really know how good he is. I haven't watched him play enough.
Yeah. So I want to go back to Chris Jenkins quickly. I talked to a buddy of mine who's a big Michigan fan. He says Jenkins was great against the run, but they did not ask him to do much in the passing game. And I think I heard a lot of people say this. Can't Chris Jenkins perform well in the passing game if he's told to?
Why not? I mean, Hubbard, we heard the same thing from him. They said, he had 3 sacks his senior year. He's a really good run defender. And, Hubbard's been dinged up the last couple of years, but for the most part, he's been a 7 to 10 sack guy his entire career.
Right.
With D linemen, it's hard to tell. That's one of the position groups that I do struggle with when I'm scouting, just because there's a lot that goes into that, a lot that goes into who's playing around you, and a lot to what the scheme is and how the defensive lines are actually going against those schemes and what they're trying to accomplish. Chris Jenkins has more than enough talent to do whatever he wants to do. But the thing I love about him is when you watch the little clips since he's been drafted.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of those guys you could tell genuinely is appreciative of the opportunity. He doesn't care where it is. He's excited. He's ready to go. It always kind of touches everybody's hearts when a player tries Skyline Chili and they're like, oh my God, this is great. And
right.
He had his little Skyline moment where he's like, can I keep this whole dish? And, or like on the phone when he was crying when he got drafted. There's just certain things about Chris Jenkins that make him really, really easy to root for.
Right. But like what we're saying, when the draft started, we saw what happened in the second round. Newton, Fiske, Rook. I mean, DTs are going. What was his name? Shocked us all. I mean, Sweat went in the second round. I mean, dude, I was freaking out. You know me, Santori. I was freaking out. I didn't want to show to act like a fool in front of a bunch of people, but I was freaking out deep down inside just at the event, man. I mean, I'm like, what are we going to do? Jenkins was like the last guy there because, like, I mean, can't you agree? You thought Jenkins was going to be off the board by the time the Bengals were picking, right?
I thought he'd have been one of the first ones taken.
Yeah, because Rook, I think some people had Rook as a third round pick almost. So,
I had most of those guys between a mid 2 and an early 3.
And by the way, with Josh Newton, did you see another foot injury? Because everybody was questioning why did he fall to the second round? I mean, Bengals fans, I mean, including myself, I really still wanted him at 18, but I just goes to show you, I think he had another injury issue, didn't he, with his other? He's
got all kinds of issues. Moving on.
Okay.
Defensive end, it's the same. You know,
I know Cedric Johnson, man. You know, is he going to make the team though?
I don't know if he makes the team, but he's a good athlete, so maybe we'll get a little bit of an uptick for that. Linebacker, it's the same. You lost Marcus Bailey, which may or may not hurt you a little bit in special teams, so not super concerned. Corner, I think, got worse.
Yes.
They lost to Wouzier. They haven't really replaced him yet. I do think there's about a 50-50 chance they sign a veteran before the season starts.
Me too.
There's a lot of good names out there who are hanging around the age of 30 to 32 that definitely have at least one season left in the tank. Guys like Stephon Gilmore are out there, and they're not going to cost you a whole lot, but you do have a ton of money. So if you want to, go for it. Safety, I think, got a lot better.
Oh, easily.
You've moved Dax away from safety. He's down at corner, so you don't have to worry about that charade anymore. You know what you have in Jordan Battle, and hopefully he only gets better.
Absolutely.
You brought Von Bell back, who I think is going to be the Chris Crocker of this defense. That older veteran, the tone setter, getting everybody in the right spot. And then you got Geno Stone, who's going to play center field. He had 7 picks for Baltimore last year. That could be very, very, very well be a product of their system. But I know he was a pain in the ass against us. So, you know, he played against Lamar every day. He knows them too. Yeah. He played against Pittsburgh. He played against Cleveland. He had success within the division. That's an important thing. So I think safety got a lot better. Corner, they didn't get too much worse. I just don't know if I trust DJ Turner outside right now.
Or do you trust Dax Hill as an outside corner? I mean, good Lord, man.
No, I don't.
But you know, you talked about free agent for corner. I want to go back to DT real quickly. Calais Campbell, 38 years old, up there in age, but could be a great rotational guy, still proves he can play at a high level. Would you give Calais Campbell a phone call?
It's talent-wise, and the idea of it is fun. I don't know where he fits on the roster because I've already got like 12 defensive linemen if you include the pass rushers.
Right.
And you're going to have to start making some serious cuts. Because here's the thing. I know specifically 4 pass rushers that are going to stay.
Right.
You know Murphy's here. You know Osai is here. You know Hendrickson's here. You know Hubbard's here. Okay? You know Rankins is here.
Yeah.
Right? You know the 2 kids they drafted are here.
Jenkins McKinley.
Mm-hmm. And you know B.J. Hill's here.
Yeah.
You typically keep 10. So, you know, you've got a slew of guys there that are your Cam Samples and Zach Carters. Are you good replacing Zach Carter for Calais Campbell 1-for-1?
Yeah.
I probably am.
I would be.
You know, but that's the decision in the route you have to kind of think of when you go that way.
Yeah.
Because he's not an outside pass rusher. He's more of that tweener kind of 2 to 3 technique. He's not a 0 technique. He's going to play over the guard, which means who am I taking out to put him in the game?
Yeah, you know, I get what you're saying. So I don't think you're against it, but it's like
I'm not against it, but I need to see how the rotation works to make it work.
Right. Okay, that's a fair statement. But no, I could not agree.
I'm never against adding more talent. It's got to make sense, though.
Yeah, you can't just add it just because he's a player. It's like, okay, does he fit my scheme?
Right.
No, fair enough. Speaking of which, DT's the funny thing is, last time we did the show, remember I came on, I was all depressed about Trey Hendrickson. You guys even said, I'm not buying into this. And look at Trey Hendrickson. Shows up for voluntary camp. Let me ask you guys, what do you think happened in a span of less than a month? Says when to be traded, but he's showing up for voluntary minimum camps saying, I want to win a Super Bowl here. I love it here. What happened?
I think his agent tried to do something and didn't realize that he wasn't in the time frame to do it and put his foot in his mouth. And then they backtracked and the Bengals said, okay, points gotten across. We will revisit this in 4 months when we can. Get Trey back to practice. Let's go win.
Uh-oh.
And obviously we'll talk about it. The Bengals are always willing to talk about it. I just think the agent screwed up.
I had a hard time believing that Hendrickson had a whole lot to do with that. It just didn't fit the character.
Mm-hmm.
It just did. Yeah, like I said, that's what I thought to myself. Now, the other contract situation with T. Higgins, we see on Snapchat that he's like, excited for the season, but then Adam Schefter reported that he's pissed off, still doesn't have a contract. What do you think? What's going on? Is T going to show up to will T show up to training camp or anywhere at all this summer?
T's not going to show up to camp. He's David Mulligeta's client. It is what it is. He's going to do the same old song and dance that Jesse Bates did. He'll show up. The first game is September 8th?
Yes, I believe so.
Over under on August 25th is when he'll show up.
But what if he makes a business decision where he got hurt in a game or something? He's like, you know what? I'm not risking my contract here. I'm sitting out. What if he gets something like that?
He's not going to do that. He'll never make up the $21 million he loses.
I hope you guys are right, but I think Schefter brought that up.
He'll never make it up. It's impossible to make it up. If he was going to play 20 more years, he could make it up. He'll never make it up. What's he going to play? 5-6 more years? He's not going to make it up.
Here's the thing. T's market right now, right? And Schefter's saying he's going to get paid, and I believe him.
It's a dropping market.
But T's market is as a 2, not a 1.
Right.
And even if it is as a 1, like Michael Pittman's a 1 over in Indianapolis, it's that market. And it's dropping starting right now. The only way that market turns into a 1 is if he has an explosive year.
Right.
So he's looking at 20 million, 23, 25 million, whatever it is right now. If he sustains where he's been at, and he better hope he doesn't get hurt again. If he gets hurt again, he's looking probably 20 to 21 where he's at now. If he balls out, which, by the way, he's maybe a number 3 option in this offense right now.
Right.
Then, yeah, he might get his 30. But the odds of that happening, of him putting up receiver 1 numbers or close to it in this offense, and him staying healthy long enough to do it. Also, his quarterback staying healthy long enough to do it. Nobody wants to mention that, but that's a key piece of it. He's most likely going to be a $20 to $22 million guy next year, or whatever that range is this year. It's equivalent to next year. It might be a $25 million range next year. But like Dad said, his market isn't going up right now. It's shrinking.
Right.
So for him to take serious hits, yeah, he'll still get paid as a good 2. And he'll still get paid because that's still going to be $20 million. That's just the market for it. But if he's wanting to get paid, he's not going to miss time.
Yeah, you cannot get paid if you don't play.
Right.
So if he skips the whole year, forgoes the 21 million, he'd have to get a 4-year contract at 26.5 each year for 4 years just to break even from skipping the year. And you don't go up in value by semi-retiring.
And that's assuming he keeps all that money and none of it gets prorated or he gets cut. I mean,
which happens a lot.
Right. I wouldn't be concerned.
My only concern is he's going to play conservative like Jesse Bates did. And he's not going to push himself. That's my concern. And if I sense it, I'm riding him on the bench. If I'm Zach Taylor, if I sense he's not putting out, because he'll just hurt the team.
Right. Do you think it's possible they could still get a contract situated before the tag, or is that just not going to happen?
No, it's not happening.
You think the Bengals will tag him twice the second time next year?
Yeah. They'll start with that.
Yeah, I mean,
they'll tag him immediately.
I just hope he pulls off a TJ Watt saying, "Look, I don't even care anymore. I just want to get this situated." Doesn't sound like that's going to happen or anything.
Here's the thing. This is, if you want my Santori's crystal ball.
Okay.
He's going to hold out until, go ahead and bookmark this, stamp it, whatever you want to do. It is May 15th, 2024.
Right.
He's going to hold out until about the third week of August. He's going to play. He's going to miss a couple games this year because that's the way he is.
Yeah.
He's going to put up regular T numbers. The Bengals are going to come out and say there's mutual interest. They're not going to be able to reach it. They're going to tag him. Then he's either going to get traded or I don't know. But I don't anticipate him playing for the Bengals in 26.
Fair enough.
I do anticipate him being tagged in 26. I don't anticipate him playing here in 26. Whether that's him holding out for the year or getting traded or what, I don't anticipate him playing as a Bengal past this season.
Fair enough.
Do you mean 25?
Yeah, 25.
No, I mean 26.
No, because 2024 is this year. That's
25. 25. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Yep, 2025. He'll be here this year. He won't be here next year.
Fair enough.
But he'll get tagged twice this year and next year.
And whatever we get for him when we decide to trade him will be deemed that they didn't get enough.
Yep.
They'll get like a fourth for him. It's call what it is. All these people that say, "Oh, you're going to get a 1." No, you're not. No. Receivers rarely get traded for a 1, and if they do, they're like the guy.
Well, I think if they could have got a 1, they already would have done it.
Yep.
Also, point out it's a deep free agent class for receiver next year too.
It's also a deep receiver class for the rest of humanity.
And for the draft.
It's so easy to get another receiver.
So it's, even though they're getting paid, it's like,
Why would I go through this song and dance with? If we already think that we've got a better receiver than Tyler Boyd, who was a third-round potential locker room cancer,
right?
You don't think that I could draft a receiver better than T. Higgins in the first round 2 years from now?
I hear what you're saying.
I mean, the Chiefs were the last pick in the draft and got the new 40-yard dash king.
Yep.
I don't know how he's doing. I know he dropped a pass in practice and everybody kind of giggled, but it is what it is. He was a first-round pick and he was a better prospect than T.
So there you go.
It's not hard to replace these guys. I know people get all upset about it because it's their favorite players and they are people too, and it's their job. I have the, I guess, sadistic perspective of looking from a business management point of view. The Bengals will be here in 10 years. T. Higgins will not be. We will find someone else. This organization has, if there's one thing you can say about the Bengals historically, they have always had, and I stress always, multiple good receiving targets at the same time. Give me a year and tell me that there's not more than one really good receiver on that roster.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's the 70s, the 90s when we were shit, the 60s when we were starting out. We know about the 80s. We know about the Carson era. We know about the Andy era. And we damn well know about the Burrow era.
Exactly.
I can't think of a year that they had bad receivers.
Well, I think what you're describing there is what what Paul Brown used to always talk about, which bothered a lot of people: interchangeable parts.
Yes,
that's what they have, and fans don't like to hear that. Players certainly don't like to hear that.
but from a building a machine point of view, and that's what it is. You know, I mean, you think of it as a car. When you think about the cars that last forever, which are the ones that last forever? The ones that have the parts that are easiest to get. Honda, Toyota. You look at the cars that might perform well but cost a shit ton of money to fix. BMW, Volkswagen, your German engineered ones. Okay, it's not reliable. American made, muscle, fun. Well, guess what? They hit the skids all the time. It's the ones that are easy to fix and replace and keep going. You know, it's typically the ones that have the cheapest parts. Right. It's like when you go to buy a printer. What's the smart way to buy a printer? Let's see. Oh my God, Dad. When you go to buy a printer, what's the best way to try and find the best printer?
What's the best way to try to find a printer?
Yeah.
You're losing me on this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You find the one with the easiest ink to replace. You don't go for the one with the most expensive ink. I've got the machine. Where's the part that I'm going to be replacing the most?
Right.
The ink. If you can find a good printer that the ink is only $9 a cartridge instead of $30, that's the one you go with.
Right.
I don't know. Little nerd talk.
But I can't believe I forgot to bring this up. Joe Burrow, he's out there throwing again. Obviously, what made me nervous is he had an injury that no other quarterback he knew had that injury, where only Lyman had it, and it's a bit different because he has to.
No quarterback in the history of the NFL has had that injury.
Does that kind of concern you a little bit, or?
It always concerns you because it's kind of uncharted territory. But
right.
From what I've been told, and I'll say that this guy's been right with everything he's ever told me. And Dad, you've met him. We're not going to say his name, but you've met him. He told me from what he's been told that ligament is completely healed the way it needs to be healed. He doesn't really know about risk of re-injury because this is such a new thing. But in terms of where it's supposed to be at right now, it is fully functioning.
Well, he's been fully functioning at practice, launching that ball, and he looks a lot more. He looks like he gained more muscle, didn't he?
He does. Most football players will do that because they don't lift weights during the season as much.
Right.
It's a lot of conditioning and cardio, so they typically lose 20 pounds during the course of the year. So you bulk up going into it, hoping it maintains. But he does look bigger, for sure.
Exactly.
Bengal Dad, you want to talk about the Reds real quick?
No.
Okay. And that's our show. I guess. I got to buy tickets for New York or somewhere. I told Ashley she could pick the road trip this year, so I'll be spending some money on tickets probably in the next hour. Dad, you going anywhere? You going to go on a road trip with me?
No road trips.
No? Kim told me she wants to go to Nashville.
That was last year.
She said she wants to go again.
It's a good thing she didn't go last year.
Yeah, because 500 degrees and my wife's face melted off.
That may lost.
It's brutal. Not to mention, we just looked like total shit. Oh my God, that game was so bad.
I will say one thing about the Reds.
Okay.
They've lost 10 consecutive one-run games.
The mark of a bad team.
We got David Bell. So
is it possible that there is any level of heat, even if it's lukewarm, on David Bell?
No.
I mean, what more do they want to give David Bell, and how little can he get out of it?
The Reds.
I don't care that they've got a few guys not playing. These guys cannot hit to save their lives.
The Castellini family values nepotism so much.
Yep.
You look at how the organization's structured. It's Castellini, followed by Castellini, followed by Castellini, followed by Castellini, and the DeWitts were in there, followed by another one, followed by another one, followed by another one. And then the Bells are in there, followed by another one. David's got no heat on him.
Yep.
He's got the right last name. And if your great grandfather wouldn't have sold the freaking fruit stand I'd be running the team, okay, and we wouldn't have any issues.
I agree.
See, Greg knows what I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying Tori, because like I say, I mean, how many chances can you keep? I just hear every year, oh, Greg, look at the situation. I'm sorry, he had how many years in the same situation? 6 years? I'm sorry. I don't care if it's unfair or not. I'm sorry.
Chesney should know it.
What are we doing?
Nothing. Engaged in a different conversation for me.
Okay. But
I'm gonna cut out because I think I'm done. It's been an hour and 10 minutes, and we've talked a lot of good stuff about the schedule and the Bengals, and I like the schedule.
Yeah, me too. I'm really happy actually with it, other than all the fake news I was hearing.
Yeah,
I'll digest it over the next couple days, and I'm sure I'll look at it a couple times and be like, well, that kind of sucks, and that's a quick turnaround. Don't like this, don't like that. I got to see everybody else's schedule too, and but I like later bye weeks. I like a good mix of Thursday night, Monday night games.
Yeah, there's probably somebody on Twitter already saying it's a mortal lock that we're going to go 13-4.
Yeah,
Matt Schultz, Bengals and Bourbon, before I jumped on the show, because he was talking about how he'll be in Hawaii, said, feeling 13-4. And I think his quote was, I don't see any way we don't go 13-4.
Oh, really? Joe Burrow goes down in week 1?
There we go.
Okay.
I saw Chiefs fans already talking shit. They said, yeah, the Bengals game's week 2 because the NFL doesn't trust Burrow will be healthy for a late year matchup.
Just keep talking.
All right. Add it to a. We need to just start a Twitter account that says Joe Burrow's bulletin board. And every time someone says something stupid, we repost it and tag Joe. Repost it and tag Joe.
I like that.
That's interesting.
Get that going, and we'll start doing it.
All right.
All right. See you guys.
Au revoir, Padre.
Au revoir.
You're still there. All right, he's gone. With that being said, I am probably going to bounce off here too. I have a bell to bell tomorrow that I am not super thrilled about.
And I got to go to the market before it closes.
Market? You mean the grocery store?
They don't call that anymore. Yeah,
no, this isn't 1843. We don't call it the market. But, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Midwest Best Barbecue. Thank you, Script Coffee. Thank you, Brimminghorn Meadery. And thank you, Three Way City and Adam Rennell. For all of us here at Channel 4 News, go fuck yourself, Pittsburgh.